Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to NerdTube. And today we're going to be talking about season one of Fallout, currently on Amazon Prime. Full spoilers ahead. I have here Gaz, the Fallout expert, I may add, because I never played the games. But Gaz has. He's played several of them. So hopefully he can give us the intertwining aspects of the games to the series and all of that. But before we start going into all of the lore of the games that have melded with this series, first of all, guys, let's talk about this series. How did you find it? All of it.
Just an awesome adaptation of an awesome game series. Now, it's not an adaptation of any of the games that I know of. It could be an adaptation of like the earlier RTS stuff, so the earlier like Doctor stuff for the stuff in the 90s. So that's Fallout and Fallout 2. I think it might be closer to Fallout 2. But it looks like it's its own thing. It's it was a real good series for a start. Like you actually cared, like because you end up caring about Lucy and what she's going through, that she's trying to get her father back and all this sort of stuff. So just an absolute and like you end up caring about all the characters. You end up caring about Maximus. You end up caring about what Goggins' character. It's just an awesome series. Now, there's some things I don't like, but we'll get into those in a bit. But those are like minimal gripes with the lore that I have. But apart from that, A-star effort.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I went into this not knowing anything that was going on, and I know very little of Fallout because I've never played the game. I know some of the symbolisms of the game, like the device you have on your
The
hand,
Pit Boy.
the Pit Boy, and obviously the Pit Boy emblem as well. The guy goes like this and all of that, and obviously it's post-apocalyptic. You start off in the vault, and then you go above ground for whatever reason, but you do, and you meet all types of different people. You can create your character the way you want. You can make them smart, you can make them strong, or whatever it may be, male or female, all of that. I remember all of those things from watching other people play the game because I've never played the game myself and looking at reviews. So that's what I took with me when I came to this particular series. And it started off, and I will say it started off so well. I thought the first four episodes were phenomenal, but I will say that I found the second half of the season to dwindle. I didn't find it that good. I started to get kind of confused by certain elements of it, and even when it came to the finale, I was finding it very hard to put things together. All the discoveries that were being made. There was a lot of things that were being teased, but the revelations, I was like, I don't get it. Like I still don't understand how certain people like how I get how maybe some people live for a long time, like Cooper Howard, Walter Goggins' character. He's a ghoul, so I get how he stays alive for a long time, and Carl McLaughlin's character, he's in cryogenics is one of the ways he stays along for a long time. But then you got Moldova, who also was alive for a long time. And I'm thinking, how is that possible? So and like the connections and making everything understandable, and how a corporation is willing to destroy the world for profit that they can't spend because they bloody destroyed the world. Like all of these sort of things. I was like, I find it very jarring in my head. It was almost like this is just so weird. Why would you want to destroy the planet if you can't spend any of the money you made? Hello, Mr. System. How you doing? I'll tell you what I did like. Do you know what diesel punk is?
Yes.
Yeah, this was definitely like a diesel punk aesthetic, but prior to the destruction of the prior to the apocalypse, you kind of realize, okay, we're in a yesterday era, a retro era, maybe the 50s or 60s, but some of this technology looks a little bit futuristic as well at the same time. Even the city itself, they obviously took that in with them into the future. And sometimes apocalyptic worlds can be a bit Diesel punkish. To some of this, like certain movies like Captain America, the First Avenger, when it came to Hydra, they were quite Diesel punkish in a way as well. You know what I mean? That sort of vibe and all of that sort of thing. So yeah, you don't get enough Diesel punk in television nowadays, and so that was nice. I did enjoy that. Very pleasing on the eye, beautifully looking, color palette was great, but I just didn't think it stuck the landing for me. Anyway, I've been going on too much. Anything you want to add to my? Anything you want to rebuttal or understand where I'm coming from to a degree? Or...
I mean, because the thing is that I will let you have your own opinion because you're coming to this as somebody who's not familiar with the law. So what I want you to portray to everybody else is somebody who's not familiar with law. Because if I start talking about the law, you might not understand it. And the thing is, it shouldn't. To me, and maybe you'll agree with this, it shouldn't matter if you play the games to understand the law. You shouldn't have to. And that's what. And the thing is that the latest stuff does make sense because I think. But again, I don't necessarily think you had to play the game to understand it. But we'll get into that.
I wasn't going down the game route. And by the way, oh sorry, I apologize, my birds. And Mr. System, yeah, I do recommend it. It's definitely worth watching, Mr. System. You should watch it if you've never. I've never played the game, but I watched it and I had a good time of it. But I was a little bit confused by some of it because I was trying to piece together all the elements that we saw. You know.
Mm-hmm.
What happened in 32 happened, you know. Initially you thought the Raiders came in and they ravaged the place and they were going to do the same with 33. But 32 was already, they experimented on them in some sort of to a degree, and You go explain it.
So like basically they used Lucy's mum's pit boy to open the vault so that the Raiders could get in and basically terrorize that place. But they'd already had some basically vault fever, basically like when you're incarcerated for a long time. There's a word for it. Like it's not
cabin fever, fever. No.
Almost like cabin fever, but kind of there's a specific term for it. But like when you cooped up for a long time, you just want to get out, and I think that's what they had. Like, and they were like the certain things that they were taking, that chemical, as you say, the chemicals they were taking. But again, what I'll say about this series that I'll talk about the things that I really liked at first. First of all, the lore is brilliant. They just do such a wonderful job of it was demonstrated to people like yourself what the lore is, because it's not set during our timeline, it's our alternative timeline. So like I think it's like 1960s, instead of technology progressing like it has now, certain technology has progressed, but kind of like the television, the buildings, stuff like that have kind of kept that sort of retro 60s look, but kind of into the 90s.
Yeah, you saw the cars. Like the cars look, they look futuristic, but they also look retro at the same time.
Yeah. So that is very Fallout. So that the Fallout universe uses kind of blends the new with the retro, like
that's like diesel punk aesthetic.
But
it's not like post-industrial age or early industrial, which is steampunk.
Mm-hmm.
It's at an age now where we have got lots of shit going on.
Yeah,
but it's obviously slanted in a different direction, which makes it diesel punk. You know.
Yeah. So that was great, and then you just see the bomb hit. I mean, like, because in the games you kind of see the bomb hit, but you don't see it all the time. Like in this, you get the whole, you can see it reflected, and all you see is that, and literally like it tear apart. It looks like either New York or Los Angeles, probably Los Angeles, where it finds that. So actually, no, it's probably Philadelphia because of where it is. The bomb blast doing that and stuff like that. It was just. It's spectacular. It was a spectacular start to a spectacular series. Like, I thought the first episode was brilliant. This is how you do a great first episode. It introduced you to the Vault, introduce you to the characters. It introduced you to the situation. It introduced you to kind of like the monotony of their existence and stuff like that. So it basically gave you a status quo to get used to. So for a while, we have Lucy, we have Carl McLaughlin as the father, we have her brother, we have the different people who are in this vault, and I thought that was masterfully done because it gives us a good time with those people until like she gets married. So until the vault door opens and stuff like that, and then we go to Maximus. It's
well, you could tell when the door opened that like these people look a bit grimy, they look a bit under the weather and stuff. You know, there was something about the 32 people that made you kind of suspicious about them.
Yeah, there was, but like the fact that they said that they needed some more grain and they wanted to trade for it, I was like, all right, that possibly could be a reason because like they could have like malnutrition and all that sort of stuff. So that's potentially a good reason. So, because the thing is that that's one thing that the writers of this got right is that the different vaults can have different like setups and different agricultures and different needs and stuff like that, and they trade with each other and stuff like that. That is something that the writers got dead on. And I thought the first bit when they settled the status quo, brilliant, and then they had Maximus as this flaming, petulant little bitch boy. I'm just going to say the word. He's a little
from the Brotherhood.
Oh yeah, he's a little bitch. I mean, the fact is that he gets kicked around, and then like he goes, "Oh, I'm going to put it in because he was mean to me." Shut up, you little little weasel. That's not what the Brotherhood is. The Brotherhood of Steel, right? Is they literally worship technology the same way that some people worship God, or some people worship different things. They literally worship technology. Like there's a certain technology of theirs. I'm sorry, I'm going to the law now, but there's certain technology of theirs that's sacred. Like for example. That's the reason they go after what's his name now? Is it Michael Emerson? Yeah, Michael Emerson. That's the reason they go after him because he's got sacred technology in his neck that they want.
Oh, that's the guy who had his head chopped off.
It's a bad guy from Lost. So like
I recognize that.
Yeah, I recognize him as well. He always plays like this creepy, and he's always a creepy bad guy. And I always love him when he turns up in things.
Okay, before we go onto about Maximus though, like just like initially with episode 1, I did like the aesthetic and just getting the groundwork going regarding that.
I mean, yeah. So can I just say, did he do a good job for you of introducing you to Vault culture?
Yeah, everything about the early episodes were perfect. You know, introducing us to the characters, the nicey of them, and how the fact that because they've been underground for 200 years or 219 years, like they haven't really evolved technologically wise. They've kind of been like everything's kind of been catered for them to a degree that everything's okay for them and they don't need to surpass, but they're also very homely like people as well. You're surprised there's no madmen within that group or people losing their minds. But I guess if you've been brought up in that world, then it's very difficult for you to know any better. The naivety of the people there as well. I liked it all. You know, their setup and everything. It was great. It was very well done, and it got me very invested in the series. And when eventually the character, was it Lucy?
Yes.
Yeah, when she had to leave, it totally made sense because her dad was kidnapped by the raiders, and so she went out
that scene when they take over was just so beautifully done. I'm not usually a big fan of slow mo, but when like you start seeing stuff going flaming haywire. I'll tell you what
I liked is that when she married that raider, before she realized the guy was a raider, and the first thing he wants to do is have sex, and she goes okie dokie, and then they start fucking.
That's what she does when she has to do something different. She goes okie dokie.
Yeah, and then,
she's this perky little flaming ball of energy, which I love to pieces.
But you know there's something up because the moment they finish, like he gets up off the bed and then he wipes his dick on on the curtains.
Oh yeah, I was watching that. I was like, oh god, oh my god.
That was so funny. And then you knew something was up and how he made himself at home and all of this sort of stuff. And then you started hearing people getting attacked and everything. And then then shit went down. And yeah, it was the massacre and stuff like that. I was surprised that the people at level 33 came out on top, because they seem like pushovers compared to the Raiders.
I think it's just the fact that they had the technical advantage of knowing the thing.
I think they had more numbers as well. I think they had. They had yeah.
I mean, to honestly, like, I love this scene. I love the scene of them taking Cal McLaughlin. I love the scene of the attack. I love the scene. This was just like, it settled the stakes. It did everything that it needed to do. It's just like, okay, that's a good. That's basically something that would happen in the games. That your father leaves. Like, yeah, it's literally what happens in the third game. Your father, he doesn't get kidnapped, but he leaves, and then you have to go and find out what happened to him. But they obviously in the third game is a bit of a douchebag, so you have to either kill him or you've got to pickpocket him and stuff like that. So.
Well, look. Prior to all of this, we got the character of Cooper Howard, played by Walter Goggins.
Oh, he was superb. So fucking good in this series.
It was so good, and we kind of see him at two or three stages in his life. We see him prior to the nuke and after the nuke, and he seems like a decent person. When he's an actor and doing all of that, yes, does, and obviously he ends up investigating on his wife and all of that. Everything about that, like I said, it reminds you of yesteryear with him smoking on set and flicking his cigarette and all of that, and promoting Vault-Tec and all of that. And then when you see him in the current day or the future, however you want to call it, he's a terrible person. He's
literally like a bounty hunter. He's literally like
Anton
Chigurh or something like that. He's literally like
Cad Bane.
He's literally like, does not give two fucks about anything.
Exactly. And he says in the series, like, this world will change you, because he has changed, from being somebody who did give a damn to somebody who doesn't give a damn, and the way he used Lucy for bait when he did find Lucy and all of that, didn't give a damn, but sold her for body parts so he can get some vials and all of that, so he doesn't turn into a zombie or whatever they become.
Ghoul.
So yeah, well, he's a ghoul already, but
but there's feral ghoul, which is like what those other things are. So they're basically they're not zombies. They're basically irradiated people.
Yeah, but they're similar to zombies. Like they're like the zombies you get in 28 Days Later. You know what I mean? Like, they run fast and stuff, and they're crazy, and they just want to eat you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they're like in the games. So and you know what? Like his character is so interesting, because like he's this sort of like children's entertainer. He's this like durable, as you say, durable like pushman for Flaming Vault-Tec. He's this like
he's an actor, isn't he?
On-screen cowboy actor. Yeah, like he's always in this cowboy outfit, and his wife is this like. Sorry, fandom is this black woman who like he literally has like this cutest relationship with. He's just like, how's he gonna fuck this up?
I don't know if she's a scientist or not, but she works for Vault-Tec, and because at the beginning of the episode, you find out that he's divorced from his wife, but you understand why, because he found out his wife was willing to destroy America, in order to sell Vault-Tec, which broke his heart, and so he divorced, and then he lost everything by the looks of it. That made sense to me. He lost everything by the looks of things because of the powerful position his wife's in, and so all he ends up doing is bloody entertaining at children's parties to make ends meet, But he obviously took his daughter with him, but by the looks of things, he probably lost her. Probably, not saying he has. Because he was with her when the world was ending. So,
I mean, yeah. I said this. Yeah, I love this character. I said like the first episode where it introduces all the characters he does. Maximus was a great character because the thing is, the Brotherhood of Steel is such a good. I mean, they're in all the games. They're such icons of the series itself. I mean, like literally the first 3 or 4 games, they're literally their image of the metal suits is on all of them. I think it's on like, it is on all of them. So that's how iconic they're literally
suits.
Yeah, the muscular like metal suits. I mean, and as I said, they're literally a religious belief system around technology, like the sacred technology. They're literally like the stuff like Warhammer. So Maximus is this, as I said before, this weasel little twerp who's has been told that he's not good enough for his life, and he's been punched down and stuff like that. And they do such a good job of showing that without actually saying it. Like the fact that he puts flaming, it's literally him that's done it. He's put flaming razor blades in people's shoes and stuff like that. And like he's having this conversation with it's like, oh, it was me. It's like, it was you. And the thing is that we all know it's you. He's talking.
Do you believe it was him?
Oh yeah.
I don't think it was ever revealed though, was it? It was never.
No, it's implied it's him.
Okay, because
and I think that I think the Brotherhood of Steel knew it in the hearts of hearts it was him. It's just that they had to do basically a show trial to say, oh, it wasn't you, was it? It was was it me?
It was just that his friend blamed her, said that she did it to herself. When they captured him near the end of the season. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if she was saying that to defend him or not, but that'll be a weird thing to do to defend the guy who sabotaged you. But so I personally wasn't 100% sure. I don't think it made it clear, but I think whether who sabotaged her, I felt almost became irrelevant to the fact that Maximus, we were following his particular story, and we can go on about him actually to a degree. He the guy who was granted great power. Nice. Well, I don't want to say that, but I don't like him anymore. But Michael Rappaport having a quick cameo in this as the original Titan. Was it? They're not called the Titan.
Titus. His name's Knight.
Yeah, he's a knight. Yeah, he's a knight.
Yeah, so there's 2 types of Brotherhood people. There's the people who are basically like golf caddies, but carry the big massive weapons.
Yeah, the squires.
Yeah. And then you have the actual knights and the people in the big armor. And when the mask came up and it was Michael Rappaport, I was like, oh shit, that's Michael Rappaport. I was like, oh, I didn't know he was going to be in this, and it was nice to see him.
Well, I'm glad that he died early, to tell you the truth, but
because you don't like him. But yeah, the fact that he was such a knobhead to flaming to Maximus, and Maximus just went, all right, I'm going to leave you to die. It's literally because you affect that big flaming. I would say it's an owlbear, but it's not an owlbear. It's like a military mutated rat, and those things are in the game. And trust me, they could fuck you up if you come across them at the wrong parts. Like there's points in the game where you can literally run into one, and it'll literally will tear your face off in 2 seconds flat. I mean, that and death claws are the things you do not want to get near in the flaming games. I don't think I saw a death claw in this yet. So you'll know when you see them. They literally look like flaming demons.
Well, look, Lucy is already out of the vault now, and she's looking for her dad. It doesn't take very long though for these 3 people that we tend to focus on, Lucy, Maximus, and Cooper, to collide with one another, and they come. It's a small junker town. They bump into each other by this
very
particular time. Yeah, by this particular time, Wilzig, the guy who's injected the power core into his head, and we see a little montage of him because he's different. He saves one of the dogs as well. They're working on puppies and stuff, but he managed to save one and keep it and stuff. And so they're all in this town, and Wilzig loses his leg. Walter Goggins is there fighting Maximus, which was a great action scene, by the way.
I just showed you how out of his depth Maximus is using that outfit. Literally, Walter Goggins is literally like he's literally punching like this, and Walter Goggins is literally not having to duck that low. He's literally
exactly. Because if if an experienced knight was able to fight Walter Goggins, they might have a better chance. But because Cooper is also quite an experienced guy as well, who's a survivor as he is, he's able to get one over the knight, because the knight is the knight armory is being kept, is in control by an imbecile. So I like the fact
he just doesn't know how to operate it probably.
I think he starts off as an imbecile and he grows.
Yeah,
but at this particular time, he's a bit of an imbecile. In moments when he was in Vault 4, which is later on, that he's also a bit of an. But what I found funny was that his suit is damaged. He needs it repaired. He only has 4 caps to get with the bottle caps as pay as money in this world. He's only got 4 caps, so he sells off one of his teeth to buy another cap, and he tells the girl, "Look, I'll give you 6 caps if you could do it really quick," and she does it within the second. You know, she repairs it, so she gets 6 caps when she could have done it for 5 anyway. I found that very funny. I like the fact that he beat up those guys to get his suit back. He was initially getting the shit beaten out of him, and then he got back on them, and then he crushed one of them with their heads with the suit hand, and all of that was
that was such a great scene.
Yeah, that was a great scene, and all
of that. As I said, Maximus has so many great scenes in this. Like, because as you said, as you just say, like his experience and his bravery and the fact is he becomes literally a Fabian, a knight in this. He doesn't start off with one, but he becomes one, and that's a, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, that's kind of story arc. It's weird that you don't really see them in Favorite stuff this day, but this is what a story arc is. He literally starts off as one thing, he becomes another. He literally doesn't start off as a knight at first, but he becomes one.
Well, look, I mentioned the imbecile thing because, like, he's terrible at lying to the Brotherhood when it comes to his current situation, and he makes out that he's dead, and he's not. He gets a new squire, and it's somebody who used to bully him. So now he's pushing him around a little bit as his knight, and eventually he kind of like tells the guy the truth, like who he really is, and the guy fucks him over and takes his power core whilst he's stuck in the suit. Yeah, and he breaks his foot as well at the same time. How is somebody you see when he took his boot off how his foot was? There's no way you could be walking along with a foot like that, but he does. Yeah, I mean his bones are broken in his foot. You can't just you're not even limping. You're just unable to walk, but he does, regardless. But
and then he's attacked by red roaches, which was great.
Oh yes, yeah. But then this is the thing, like Lucy just coming out of nowhere to save the day and bumping into him. I thought that was
brilliant. Because like really, at this stage, she gave 0 fucks.
No, but it's not about that. But like you're in this big town. There's a railroad track that goes through it, and all of this, and she manages to bump into him randomly the way she did. I found that a bit convenient, if you know what I mean. So, and she also thought she lost her head, and because they lost it, because she was used as bait earlier to get the fish, and all of that, and yeah, it was just like it starts to get a bit blurry now for me because as we do progress, I don't know if we're going to miss anything, but I think we should just jump straight into Vault 4.
So it's the guy who gets his leg crushed who has the. He has the
he has the real head, but we'll get to him a bit later.
But the person who plays what's his name, the robot that's going to do the thing is Matt Berry, and that was such a great cameo because I love Matt Berry anyway.
Yeah, Matt Berry's awesome, but I did like how we look at some of the past scenes that melds in some of the current day scenes as well, but. How I like the way she had her finger cut off and he puts a new finger on and then wants to harvest the organs and then obviously the scene with the ghouls and some of them are obviously gone a bit feral and yeah it was all very tense, kind of Walking Dead like, so to speak, and obviously Cooper comes in, he's got like more veils than he'll ever need, not having to worry about turning anytime soon. Watches himself on the video as well, all of that. It was just so well done.
That was so good. The myriad of like, this is who I used to be and this is what I am now. It's so. As I said, he's so good at this series. Like every time he's on screen, I'm like, yes. It's like more of him, please. It's like because like to be honest with you, all three of these people are people I actually want to watch more. I want to watch more of Lucy. I found her annoyed at first because you saw the Perky and Chippy and stuff like that, but then as the series goes on, she starts to give less and less and less of a fuck. She's like, I have zero fucks to give about this situation.
Yeah, she grew. She was naive at first. Even when they were crossing that bridge, you knew some shit was going to go down. Yeah, the moment those people on the other side, they smiled and you saw their dirty teeth, you knew immediately shit's going to hit the fan, and they got killed for it. So yeah, all of that. But I want to jump into Vault 4 now, which I thought was interesting.
It was interesting.
Like you could tell that they've been doing some genetic experiments of some sort. When our duo of Maximus and Lucy, they plod along to them and find them by accident, and next they feel like they've been taken in, but they start to notice that the people in Vault 4 are looking a little bit strange. And one of the first people they meet is the overseer, who's a Cyclops.
And he says, I thought you came from the. He said, oh no, and you realise that he's a product of maybe incest.
Is it incest or experimentation and mutation?
Because they say that's what incest breeds. Is like
I thought it was a bit of everything, because you saw them on level 12 when all the experimentations that are going on, and like it wasn't just incest. You had people with like with glowing eyes and shit like that. It looked like, I think it could be a combination of both. But then you had that moment when they started worshipping Maelor as well, which was a bit weird.
And they started getting nude and stuff like that. It was just weird. That's what really weird.
It shows you how different each vault can be. Even though you're supposed to live the same, you can all be different at the same time.
Yeah, the fact is, this kind of was the funny bit. Like when you look at, I'm going to send you to death. I could send you upstairs.
Well, no, but prior to that, Maximus, like Lucy and Maximus, they come in there. Lucy's all happy, saying, "Hey, we're in the vault. We'll be cool now." And then Maximus is like wanting to get on the outside world, but then Maximus starts to experience some of the luxuries of the vault, and he's liking it, having a warm shower, drinking clean water, eating caviar, and watching TV. This is good shit as far as he's concerned. He's got it made. Mm-hmm. But then obviously Lucy starts to see the how people are deformed, and obviously goes to level 12 and sees all the experimentations, like that woman giving birth to those fish, that then starts to eat her as they come out of her. It was really fucked up. And then obviously, she gets banished, and she gets 2 weeks worth of supply of food, which gets destroyed when Maximus tries to save her after he wakes up from his fucking from his brainwashing, so to speak. So he does give him back the fusion core, which was a nice touch after they escape, because he uses their fusion core to power up his suit.
Yeah, and you can tell that he's becoming a good person, because I love the love story between him and Lucy, because he feels organic. He doesn't feel
really. I don't know.
It feels a little bit trite. But it's a famous series. I'll let it pass.
I can understand that, like them just being friends of convenience, but a love story, I'm not so sure. I mean, like when he mentioned when she was like mentioned about having sex, and he was talking about how your thing gets swollen and explodes, and I'm thinking to myself, you telling me like the people in your cabins are not jerking off and all the fucking time? What, are you serious? Like, like you don't know anything about that? Like all these boys just no. I thought that was a bit stupid as well. Like
actually, both. The Brotherhood of Steel is not strictly all male. There are some females in it.
Yeah, there are females there too. So.
But
I found the naivety of it. Yeah,
you're not really supposed to partake in that sort of thing, because it's one of the things of the Night Brotherhood is that you're supposed to be virtuous in that sort of sense.
Yeah, but you're telling me they're not wanking or anything like that,
Yes,
please.
I'd tell you that they're not wanking.
Yeah, and people are not supposed to wank, but they still do. You know what I mean?
No, it's a series. It's a series. It's to as I said, like I could go to the lore of the Brothers Steel with you for a bit and how that's part of the lore that they don't fuck or do anything to do sex whatsoever.
So all I'm saying is that celibacy happens in lots of different cultures and religious beliefs, but doesn't mean that they follow it through. You know, like.
Mhm.
You know, and unaware of what their bodies are capable of doing. That's all I'm saying. And celibacy doesn't mean you can't wank as well. You know, so there's a difference. But anyway, regardless, that's why certain things take me out of the moment at times, because I find like, come on, you telling me my cock explodes or some shit like that? He's saying stuff like that. So I just found that a bit weird. But regardless, that moment whilst they're in Vault 4 were probably the best part of the second half of the series for me.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But I mean, I did like different parts of it just because it did lead to a satisfying conclusion in my personal opinion. Just because I enjoyed the fact that they were able to see the task through. There wasn't any you weren't supposed to do it. I think side friends for season 2. It's like nope, they did what they're supposed to do, and now they can tell another story from Fallout. They can tell it with these characters again, and I'm happy watching them again.
Look, but before we get to that, like when they were at that station, and that's when the squire was taking the ghoul medicine to fix his foot, but doesn't realize he's a ghoul yet because his foot magically repairs. But then that whole station is full of booby traps, and then he accidentally activates one of them when he sees Maximus and Lucy, and he gets an arrow shot through his neck, and he's wondering why he's not dead yet, and then he realizes that he's a ghoul, so now you can't even go back to the Brotherhood. And I found that all very amusing, but then the Brotherhood are on their way, but they located him, and they located Maximus and Lucy, so they want that head, which they do have now again from taking off the Squire, I believe. And because there's so many dead bodies from the booby traps, Maximus just takes a random head, and then he gets taken back by the Brotherhood, whilst Lucy goes ahead to try and find her father. And that's when the Brotherhood realizes that Maximus is alive, and when he's supposed to be dead. His friend saves him, and then they go back to look for the head in order for him to stay alive. And that's when they have a fight with the Ravagers, or is it what they call the Ravagers? Is that what they're called?
Yes, the Ravagers. Yeah.
And by this particular time, Lucy's caught up with these Ravagers and given them the head, which the power supply is inside. And everything seems to be according to plan. And we find that the father's there as well. And then this is where you have to make me understand too, because one of the subplots we actually forgot was the brother as well, because he's trying to make sense of everything too.
He goes full of Norman Bates of flaming, like, what's his name? Not Norman Bates. Who's the character from American Psycho? He goes full on whatever that character's called.
I can't remember. We're talking Patrick
Bateman. That's one. Yeah, he goes full on Patrick Bateman in it. Later on, he says like, "Oh my fucking god!" He's literally the most threatening character in that side of the series. Like, oh my! Because every time he's on screen, I'm like, "Oh fuck, he's gonna do now."
Well, he found this pattern that every time a new overseer happens, they come from Vault 31. So this is the pattern that he's been following, and he's trying to uncover this sort of stuff. And then he messages somebody from Vault 31, pretending to be the overseer, and goes to visit Vault 31. And that's when he finds that guy from the past who's now a brain. What was the name of the guy? He was a fan of Cooper. I forgot his name.
I don't know. It's not Barry. It's not Barry. Someone else. I don't know what his name is.
It's not Thaddeus Buell. Yeah, I find it. But yeah, he ends up being the brain, which is kind of funny. And he's basically constantly conscious all the time, where he's a brain, and it's supposed to be the lady Barb, who's supposed to be there. Not Barb. Is it Barb?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god! I'm not getting all the people I want from this, but regardless, the overseer of 33, and because she's not there, he tries to then stab Norm with an injection, but he's unable to because he's just too bloody slow, and too clumsy. But then this is what we got revelations here, boss man, because what we saw were like these cryogenic tubes. So these people have been frozen for centuries, or what is that? How it works?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that in the games, that is what happens. As I said, in the games, you've got the vault dwellers, and then you've got people who are outside.
Yeah. But I at this particular time, I don't want to mention the games here, but I'm just trying to make sense of what I'm watching, because we're also jumping back and forth between Cooper's time as well, because he's now spying on his wife regarding what she really is doing and the knowledge she has regarding Vault-Tec, because she works for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to make sense of all of this now. This is all this information, all this revelations coming, and I'm really trying to piece together. Okay, there's some cryogenic shit going on here, and we see Hank McLean as a young man speaking to Cooper, but he's a young man there, so I like make sense of this to me. I'm trying to make sense of it all.
So Vault-Tec in the games and this are basically trying to try to make the world so that they can own it. So basically, so they could have their own almost Hitler-like eugenic race, so their own master race. So basically, they fought over the world so they can basically be in charge and have their own super ethnic race oversee it, basically. So like that's basically Vault-Tec's plan. It is like is because like that's the reason that I mean, as I said, Vault-Tec doesn't care about like now. They care about like 50 years from now. So they want to be in charge. Basically, they want to have their finger at every pie, so that they could be basically.
But they want to destroy the world, and
yes,
yes. But don't they want to live in the world?
Yeah, but that's the reason that they freeze themselves off and do other stuff to save their consciousness where they can, and that's the reason why. I mean, as I said, like Vault-Tec is like if Elon Musk had a brain. That's basically what Vault-Tec.
Damn.
So basically, they basically what have the stakes so in their favor, so that when things go messed up. So, I mean, like, because there's literally like parts in the past where he's talking about the fact that Vault-Tec is interfering in politics. Like, for example, with the peace talks, it's interfering with like finances, and it's doing all these things which like we've seen shady conglomerates do. Oh, not really, but apart from they want to destroy the world. Ha ha ha. You know what I mean? And that's what I really liked about this is that it's like Vault-Tec are basically what would happen if a Russian conglomerate could figure out a way to take over the world and make money out of it. That's basically what it is.
But make money, but it's weird in the way.
Not make money, but gain power from it.
Yeah, so because the financial implications just seem like illogical because there's no world to spend the money in, if you know what I mean. So it is about power, for sure. But so is it basically like a merry-go-round of like 31 is like somebody comes in, becomes the overseer, and the last overseer goes back to cryogenics again, and is that how it works?
Yes. So it's like a rotor so that people forget. It's almost like Moon, if you've seen Moon, where a clone of him is made every so often and stuff like that. And this is the same thing where somebody has their time, goes into cryostasis, gets killed again to be young again, and then that happens over and over and over again.
Well, Lucy McLean, sorry, not Lucy, Dawn McLean, he when he's checking out 32, he sees the whole place turn to shit.
Mhm.
But then the next day, when 33 starts planning on sending people to 32,
Mhm.
uh, we notice that 32 has become cleaned up and everything looks back to like it should do. Like,
Mhm.
who the fuck done all that? You know, like
They probably sent a crew in to tidy it up a little bit.
a crew, like. Like where, like how? You know, like,
Yeah,
we're
but I
just
mean,
sending the
are you telling me that you want to see a fallout where you see like somebody with a squeegee and a mop just literally
no, but
going?
like I'm trying to make sense of what I'm watching. Like we're talking about people who are in isolation.
For
Yeah,
cleaning spongings.
yeah. Like who is there to do all of this shit? Yeah, within a day. You know, like no one day, like Norman's like sees it all, and then the next day, you know, it's all cleaned up. So much so that the paint is still wet. You know,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of cleaning up to do. There's bodies to dispose of,
Yeah,
repairs to be made. You
yeah.
know, all of this sort of shit. So like, it just started to boggle my mind. Like, what the fuck am I watching here? So I'm starting to now ask questions when I shouldn't be. You know, I can't just accept the answer. I need to ask the question, and that for me is never a good thing because you know, like, I think I have a reasonable question that needs to be answered.
No. I'm
How
not
do you,
saying no.
you know? Anyway, we get to Carl McLaughlin now and him being taken prisoner,
Mhm.
and because of all these revelations that have come to light, we kind of realize as well that all of this that's happened is part of Hank McLean. Well, not all of his fault, but he's partly responsible for the
Mhm.
way things are
Yeah,
because in a way it's like he represents the corporate world and Moldova, sorry, represents like
chaos.
activists like us.
Anarchy.
Well, I wouldn't say anarchy, but she represents people. She represents the people. You know, you got your corporate side and you got your
So
grassroots.
so basically, she represents what Americans think communism is, like form communism. Uh, what Hank represents is full capitalism. So if capitalism goes to its fullest point, what would happen? Like they would not care about the end goal of harm. They just care about, oh, we're in power now, we're in charge now. That's all they would care about. They wouldn't care about the collateral damage, and that's why I think this is a good social political drama. I mean, that's what's in the games anyway. Um, is social political commentary. But you said you didn't really want to talk about the game, so
I mean, only when it helps this series, if you know what I mean.
all right. So
But
like, let's talk about how it helps. The things that all right. So there's always political commentary in the series, and like, for example, like the pseudo religious cults in it. For example, like as I said, Brotherhood of Steel. There's one that follows Elvis, that literally worships Elvis, that you can run into in different
well,
parts of the.
he was the king, so it makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
They literally call themselves the kings. They'll the haircut, they'll the flaming the outfits, but they have
Thank
machine
you
guns.
very much, and all that sort of
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then there's like ones that are flaming like obsessed with bombs, so like they're literally called boomers. I'm not joking. They're literally called boomers. Um, but yeah, I mean we've not really run into the as I said, those are in the games. They're not in this yet. So I mean, again, I am interested because they're in the last part they're going to New Vegas. If they do stories around New Vegas, I'm well bored because New Vegas is such an interesting setting because it's literally Las Vegas but fucked, and it's totally fucked up. Like literally fucked up the arts.
Yeah, fair enough. But regarding this particular episode, Lucy realizes that her dad's a bad person,
Mm-hmm.
and in a way they've been fighting for the wrong side, and so they understand what Moldova wants, which is basically to give power back to the people,
Mm-hmm.
literally, and that power happens to be in their head, so they get the fusion thing out their head, but they need a code, and that's where Hank McLean comes in, and Hank feeling like he's defeated, feel okay, fine, gives the code, and then next thing you know, we see I mean, I don't know how there's an electrical grid or anything, or why people would still have lights in their houses or whatever, but we somehow see the whole fucking power being given to the whole town or whatever that town may be. And yeah, they've got electricity back, which might be a nice little touch if they do next season, because people will have electricity, which is a good thing, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So and all of that, but Hank escapes in a suit, a night suit. So he's run away. Maximus
he's
kills
he's going to be the
Moldova.
Which is I'm so glad about, because she's dude my fucking tits.
In Moldova.
Oh yeah, I hate it. No, not the actress. The actress is fine. I've seen her doing other stuff, but this character was just dude my tits in.
Well, we also saw Lucy's mum. She turned into a ghoul.
Yeah.
So
and that was so sad. That was so heartbreaking. He was literally like, because the way that they did it was so fucking awesome. I love that, because sometimes you just the fact that Cal McLaughlin had hidden that from her, like he knew about it and he didn't want her to hurt her. And that shows that Cal McLaughlin's not a true bad guy or a true good guy. He's complex, like we all humans are.
I think he's a bad guy. I think he cares for his daughter.
I disagree.
I think he cares for his daughter like a father would, but you can tell he's your stereotypical late stage capitalism corporate bad guy who was there to help destroy the world. And if you destroy the world, it don't matter what your fucking other intentions are. You're the bad guy, you know. and he left his daughter high and dry to run away and shit. You know, he didn't want to give himself in or whatever. You know, and yeah, you can tell that he has evil intentions now for whatever happens in the next season.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so yeah, he for me is the bad guy. He's the faux good guy, the guy who pulled the wool over. It's something I've seen in Hollywood tropes before, where who you thought was a good guy was actually the bad guy. Who you thought was a bad guy was actually the good guy.
Yeah, but they actually did it really. Yeah, but they did it really well here.
Yeah, they did it really well here. So
and I can't wait until season 2, because fucking hell, if it's this sort of quality, give me more of this shit. Especially if you start set around New Vegas, and especially if they do the different sort of like factions, especially if they start bringing in Caesar's legions in. More of this, please.
I just, like I said before, like very early on, I thought the first few episodes was great, but I found it very hard to piece together all the aspects and truly make sense, because I've watched complicated shit before and I'm able to understand what they're trying to explain.
Yeah.
But I found it very difficult at times to understand why this and that and this and this and that and this.
So what's the main thing? If you're to know good doubts, so if I could help you, because maybe
how everyone's able, like how people were able to stay alive for so long. Not all, some of them were explained, some of them weren't. Moldova wasn't explained. Yeah, she
had radioactive blood.
So was she a ghoul?
Yeah, so she was a ghoul.
But she never lost her nose like a lot of other ghouls.
No, but she had the medicine. She was access to the medicine, because you see her taking it.
Oh, okay, I wasn't aware. I mean, some of the.
I mean, they don't make it super obvious, but she's literally shooting up into them.
And the power supply, and why Hank McLean doesn't want them to know about it, and all of this
because energy is a commodity in the games, and it's a commodity here, and having a fusion makes it difficult for them to be in power.
I just found some of the motivations. Like people always say that, you know, that rich people and billionaires are happy to destroy the world because they can live in their caves and live forever, or they can live in space and live for, you know what, that's all bullshit, because living in space ain't fucking easy. You know, like it's not as simple as people make it out to be, as a lot of astronauts have explained. And why the fuck would you want to live in a cave, even with all the mod cons you have for the rest of your life? You know what rich people like to do? They like to go to places. They like to travel the world on their yachts, on their private jets, you know, eat in fancy restaurants, go to the coolest locations, the nicest venues. You can't do any of that shit if you destroy the fucking world. You know what I mean?
That's why it's social commentary. It's social commentary on the fact that that even now there are businesses who are destroying the world with environmental stuff and stuff like that. Even though we know how dangerous this is, they're still not listening to the advice.
They are.
It's a social commentary.
Yeah, I agree with you, but they are in a way doing it in the minimal way. Like you saw the ocean catching on fire that time, which was unbelievable, and obviously some like destruction of the rainforest. And some of the carbon pollution they do.
We literally see like weather events happening in countries.
I agree, but it's like COVID as well, because some of these rich fuckers genuinely thought it wasn't going to affect them because they thought it only affects the poor. Because unfortunately, when you do become rich, you can become quite naive and you think nothing affects you and it only affects other people, especially if you're a second generation rich fucker who has been handed everything to you and never really had to work for anything. So what I'm trying to say is that these people, they cause things in a minuscule way, but Vault-Tec literally set off nukes and destroyed the whole fucking planet, or America, as far as I'm concerned. It's hard to say.
It's mostly America. I think in the games I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. But the thing is that like, but the problem is that what Vault-Tec did is that they planned it so advanced so that they would be in charge, so they would be basically the overseers.
I just think it's a big gamble to take, but it sounds so simple on paper. But then when you realize what you're doing could backfire even for you. You know, when you're rich and powerful, you want people to serve you and do shit for you. You know, you don't do fuck all yourself. Everyone else is making you money. You lose that aspect, and then you have to work for yourself to get things done. It can be kind of complicated. It could be risky. I can't help but think of all these elements when I think about why they're doing this. The fact that a corporation wants to destroy the world to make a profit, which in the world they mentioned how they invested so much money into Vault-Tec, and so you felt like they almost wanted to see an investment on that. The only way to make Vault-Tec work was obviously to get people involved in it. But at the same time, you'd have to destroy the world to do so, and how you get. Like, I'm really trying to make sense of it, and I found that very, very difficult. But I don't want to go into that too much because we could be here all day. You know what I mean? So yeah, fair enough. But look, overall, I did like this. I couldn't accept everything I was watching, and I found some of it a bit hard to grasp, and it's just how it is. You know, like I might need to watch it again, but I'm not the sort of person to watch a series or a second time round. I gave it my shot, and I think it's maybe about time we mark it as we're reaching the hour mark.
Okay.
So, what would you like to give this? Oh, you want me to go first?
I could go first if you want.
Okay, what are you going to give this out of 10? The whole season?
The whole season, I'm going to give a 9.
Wow. And why is that?
Because it catches the lore of the game, it catches the feel of the game, it catches the environment of the game, it catches the social commentary of the game. It does everything that you should do. And I think it is accessible enough to people who are, like for example, people like yourself, who aren't exactly familiar with the lore, but can catch them up to it in a way that's going to interest you to watch more of it. So, because I'll ask you now, well, I suppose we'll do it later. If there was a season 2, would you watch more of this?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, there you go.
I'll answer that right now. I'm happy to continue this because I think there's more to this world than what we've seen, and there's loose ends that need to be tied up, and I'm sure new loose ends. Oh my bad. New loose ends will be created,
and that's what a series that's based upon an existing property should do. Even if somebody's not familiar with it, they should want them to watch more.
Okay. Well, look, I was on the verge of giving this an 8 or a 9 out of 10, and now I'm more in the 6 and 7 range because I don't feel the second half of this season was as good. Now, what I've come to realize before I do mark it, by the way, is that like the first 3 or 4 episodes was written and directed by the same people, whilst the second half of the season were written and directed by, when I say the same people, like the same person wrote the first 4 episodes, I think the same person directed the first 3 episodes.
Yeah. So
And
it's
that,
Jonathan Nolan, who's Christopher Nolan's brother. So yes, it
so
was.
there's a consistency there.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It makes everything smooth and works well. But then I think the latter episodes were written by 3 or 4 different people, and 3 or 4 different people directed the latter episodes as well. So now everything gets a bit mixed up and a bit jumbled. Yeah. And that has a massive effect on this show. You know, so for me, I thought it was a bit of a mess by the end. Visually beautiful, the color palette, all of these sort of things. It was very vibrant, full of color. I loved it. You know, the look of it, the aesthetics, the characters. Walter Goggins, especially, he was good. It was good to see. It's always good to see Kyle MacLachlan in anything. I thought he was really good. You know, I thought he was very good in this as well. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. I think a 6 would be too harsh, even though it's above average. Other characters as well. I thought Norm was great. I thought his investigation in the vault was probably the more interesting part of the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Everything that was going above ground, his investigation was the part that captivated me the most. But I did think the payoff for that wasn't good enough at the same time. But regardless, I give it a 7 out of 10. It really would have got a 9, possibly a 10 if it held up as well at the beginning of the like it did at the beginning of the season, but it just didn't, in my opinion. So that's why it gets the mark it does. But still, 7 out of 10 is way above average, and nothing to
scoff about.
I think if somebody told me something was 7 out of 10, I'd probably give it a watch and give it my own opinion. So yeah, 7 out of 10 is how it is. All right. Anything more to add before we wrap this up?
Just go out there and watch it, people. And then if you need to, maybe watch what, even if you don't want to play the games, maybe watch a let's play of maybe 3. Actually, I don't actually stop that. Watch a let's play of New Vegas. There you go. There's my recommendation.
Okay. And as somebody who has never played the games, and whether I will or not is another matter. If you're the type of person who hasn't played the games, yeah, give this a watch. Certain things might make more sense to you than others. Not all the story points landed for me, but it might for you. It's like I said, everyone's an individual, I guess, when it comes to these particular matters. But we'll just see how it goes. You know, if it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I gave it a 7 out of 10 as somebody who's not a Fallout player, only knows very little of the lore. You know, never played a game once, only seen little bits here and there on trailers and snippets on social media and YouTube and stuff like that. So yeah, that's where I stand with the game. 7 out of 10 as a non-player, 9 out of 10 for the player, 7 out of 10 for the non-player, which in overall is decent marks for this TV show. Probably one of the best video game adaptations you'll find out there, in my opinion, as well. So yeah. All right, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest YouTube channel you never heard of. Take care now, and bye-bye.